All right, Super Maz. It's question time. Okay. Questions in the rocket ship. So questions beget questions. Questions beget answers. Answers beget learning. I don't know if I can teach you anything, but I can make shit up. Got any questions after that little fun fest? You already asked about estradiol versus GnRH. Which Maz's question there is, why don't we give him estradiol? I do have a friend in their program. What they do is he synchronizes them with a BowSync program. So a device, they get a estradiol at introduction. They pull the device 8 days later with a shot of prostaglandin, and then he waits 48 hours, and then he AIs everything that's rubbed, and everything that's not rubbed gets a shot of estradiol. And then this bouncing is going to drive people nuts. And then let's hang on to this. And then everything else gets AI'd the next day, because the estradiol will make them come on heat. We used to do a lot of BowSync 4 instead of this, what I call the warnable program. The downside of BowSync and programs that have estradiol at the back end is you get a lot of animals that'll display estrus when they don't really want to. Like it's kind of a pushy program. Like it's like, you will show estrus, but I don't have an oocyte. That's okay. You show estrus. And so it gives people a false expectation. Versus like BowSync and JSync, there's no estradiol. So I feel a bit better when I've got a good strike rate. Okay, so now questions.
How long have you got from, obviously you want to AI them 12 hours after standing heat, but what is your actual window of opportunity to inseminate post-ovulation?
Well, I think we're aiming for the best outcome, so it's a bell curve distribution. So like Gabriel Boat had some animals where he was doing repetitive scanning, and he had animals that ovulated 72 hours after insemination and still conceived. So there's quite a window there. And with heat detection, we're I guess just through experience and possibly convenience. I know the 12-hour thing, you think of people that are milking cows, get up in the morning, look for your girls on heat, write them down. When you bring them in the afternoon, AI them, take note of whoever's on heat, do them the next morning. So it's probably like a lot of things are based on the human factor. For instance, like how often do we give drugs? BID, TID, QID, SID, rather than saying, why don't you give it every 17 hours, which might be optimal. We do stuff to make it simple. Vaccinating dogs, annual booster. Why? Because it's easy to remember. So the 12-hour thing came out of just experience from producers seeing what sort of outcomes they were going to get. But yeah, it's quite a range. And so with fixed time AI, we're crowding them into as tight of a window as we can, but they still have a bit of a bell curve distribution of ovulation pattern. Like these ladies that we give GnRH to, some of them might be getting ready to show estrus now, but if they show estrus, they're probably not going to ovulate for another 36 hours. So by giving them GnRH, that'll bring them forward 24 hours. For some of my real high value clients where they've got really expensive semen and they're willing to pay that extra $4 or $5 for the GnRH, we'll give GnRH to everything at AI, because an animal that's in the back pens that just came on heat, she's not going to release her own GnRH for another 24 hours. And so I'd much rather she ovulate then, as in right now, rather than then. But look, you kind of got to balance it with the cost of the program and everything like that. I think we drop a percentage or so, and it's not a massive deal. In my heifer AI programs, I don't stress about conception rate. It's about setting those heifers up to succeed by getting them to calve in a nice tight window. And whether you get 60% or 50% doesn't really make that much of a difference, as long as you've kept enough heifers and budgeted on half of them. You get a few extra, a few less. It doesn't make or break the program, if that makes sense. So de-emphasize that conception rate side of it, because it's about the management advantage of getting calves out of heifers at the very beginning of the preferred calving window, in a nice tight window, so that they're truly cycling when the bulls go back into them. Because heifers take about 85 days to start cycling again after they calve and stuff. So yeah. People say, oh, it's a crap season, I think we might just put out bulls. I say, well, the AI or the bulls are both going to have relatively the same outcome. So it's whether or not the girls are cycling. So I still encourage people to AI even when the season's not great, especially because we're using relatively cost-effective synchronization programs and semen.
What is the servicing capacity of a bull in a day? Because I know that there's a bit of talk about how many cows or heifers a bull can service a day, or how many times he can service them effectively. So
MLA's recommendations are bulls at 2%,
Yeah.
which is 1 to 50, and that's scattered out over a 21 day window. If you're using fixed time and then putting bulls out,
Yeah.
that's super tight, and I don't think anybody does that. You'd need a lot of bulls because they'd all be coming on in a very tight window. But 2 shots of prostaglandin will make them ovulate 48 to probably around 100 hours. So it's like a bell curve, and 72 hours being the peak. We recommend 5% bulls, so 1 to 20. But I think the bulls can do more than you think. There's also some really cool work out there with multi-sire mating. That one bull's the dominant bull gets most of the calves. So even though we've got, say, 100 heifers or 100 cows, and we got 3% bulls, so we got 3 bulls out there. What you find is that one bull gets about 70% of those pregnancies. So he must be doing a hell of a lot of work, which I think is where we see the balanopostitises that we do, the inflammation of the penis and prepuce. Is you got a dominant bull who's doing most of the shagging, and if he gets a bit of a viral infection of his willy, bovine herpes virus, balanoposthitis, IBPPV, infectious balanoposthitis, and pustular vulvovaginitis, or exploding dick syndrome, which is easier to say. I think those bulls get ulcers on their willy and they keep working because they got good libido, and they start to get inflamed, and their head's up there and their willy's down there. They don't really think about it. They know something hurts, but they don't really put 2 and 2 together, and they keep trying and end up with a catastrophic willy outcome, at which stage they then go sitting under a tree and complain. And then number 2 bull becomes the dominant bull, and now there's only 2 bulls over 100, and so one of them's dominant, so then he breaks down, and sometimes you'll see that one breaks down, and a week later another breaks down, and another one breaks down. Yeah. So we've got our big program here. We've belted through 150 or something this morning, 120. Now we got 3 to do. Let's go ask some cows, hey?
Cool.
Cheers. Thanks for the good questions.
No worries.
Yeah. Got any more questions? Because they're opening a gate.
Not at the moment, but I'm sure I'll think of more.
Dynamite. Cheers.